What is going on, my family? Your boy Demetrius is back with another classic video. Here we are going to talk about something when it comes to a lot of people feel like is the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. I know I do have him in the number one as far as the GOAT debate. You know, there is no disputing that Michael Jordan is number one, even though I'm a diehard Kobe Bryant fan. But look, Michael Jordan is the absolute GOAT, okay? But you know, one of the things that have been going on in the past couple years is the so-called drama, so-called beef rivalry that has been spoiled up by the media when it comes to Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And, you know, Scottie Pippen has said some questionable things in the past about Michael Jordan. And y'all know how the media is. The media kind of spins it. Scottie Pippen has not denied that he said it. He did say a lot of things. And, you know, he even admitted that him and Michael Jordan were not friends on a personal level. And, you know, and a lot of people are looking at that like, wow, it's a shocker, but not really. You know, we see this all the time when it comes to sports. You know, a lot of people just kind of feel like, OK, you know, Michael and Scottie were on the same team. They were on the Bulls. The Bulls dominated. So a lot of people thought that they just had that type of homeboy connection off of the court. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, that don't always be the case. You feel what I'm saying? But Scottie Pippen was involved in an interview really shaking up the internet right now. And, you know, he talked about Michael Jordan and talked about the Chicago Bulls an awful lot. And, you know, like I said, a lot of people think there's this bad blood between Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. I honestly don't think so. I don't think this is what people are making it out to be, because in this interview, Scottie Pippen is giving all types of respect and praise to Michael Jordan. And like I said, a lot of people seems to think that there's bad beef there between them because of the history. Everybody knows the situation with Michael Jordan's son dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife / baby mama. So a lot of people put that as like, oh, shoot, Michael Jordan gonna be shitty at Scottie and all of this. But Michael Jordan has not spoken on that, and neither has Scottie Pippen. So that kind of tells me that, you know, they looked at that situation like the hell with it. So when it came to the situation with Michael Jordan's son and Larsa Pippen, that situation was their situation. It wasn't Michael Jordan's situation. It wasn't Scottie Pippen's situation. And a lot of people kind of put that situation and made it into a beef between Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And I don't really think that was fair, in my personal opinion. But this interview here, you know, I had took a clip of this interview here. And like I said, Scottie Pippen is going to be talking about a lot of things when it comes to Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. And I'm kind of glad Scottie Pippen did this, because I really do want the world to put the whole Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen so-called beef or hate or whatever people are calling it. I want them to put it to rest, because I don't think it exists. I don't think it never existed. And like I said, man, these were just two guys playing on the same team. They were two superstars. Of course, Michael Jordan was the mega star, but Scottie Pippen was a star in his own right. They were just there to get the job done. And the job was win championships. And that is exactly what they did. You know, they were colleagues. They were teammates. You know, they never admitted that they were friends. You feel what I'm saying? But we're going to play the clip of the interview, listen to Scottie Pippen talk, and then I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to chime in whenever I hear something significant. And then when it is all over, I'm going to come back and I'm going to give my 2 cents in about the whole interview, and then we'll just take it from there. So without further ado, let's roll it.
We're playing, and you guys had fans in Chicago. You guys were, can we say that the 10-year run you had, you were like the Beatles? You were like Elvis Presley. You were like, is it fair to say, no matter where you guys went, everybody wanted to see you guys? The show in town, no matter where you guys went.
I would definitely say that's fair, but I would give a lot of the credit to Michael Jordan because of the fact that he had created something with the Chicago Bulls, and that myself and other guys that came along, we built up on that, and it became in the late 90s when we got Dennis Rodman on the team, that we were, or people looked at us as a rock band. And when we came to different cities, we had that kind of feeling that, you know, we had to put on a show. We had to perform. And that's why when you look at those teams, and especially my Bull teams back there, there were no days off, you know. guys came to play whether they were injured, sick, no matter what, because we felt like that we had to perform and that there were people coming out to watch us perform.
Now, he brings up a very good point there when he talked about the Bulls. Before I talk about that, I do want to say, like, Scottie Pippen is like the one guy, after everything that he done been through when it comes to the NBA, the situation with his ex-wife and everything, Scottie Pippen truly does look like he is at peace with himself. Like, a lot of these athletes that go through a lot, you know, when it comes to marriage situations, financial situations, business situations, a lot of these athletes look stressed out, and a lot of them just look like they just want to just, you know, just say fuck it and just disappear and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But Scottie Pippen really does seem like, and really does look like, he is truly at peace with himself. Like, it's like the way that he looks right now, he has accepted everything that has happened. He's proud of it. You feel what I'm saying? And, you know, it's all about the next chapter in his life. You know, that's the vibe that he's giving off. It's a really good vibe. It's a really good vibe. And I'm saying this because, you know, Scottie Pippen has been kind of painted as some type of villain because of all the things that he has said about Michael Jordan in the past, and a lot of the things that his wife has done, or his ex-wife has done, excuse me. So a lot of people are kind of painting that dark picture on him, but like, you know, the dude's vibe is good. He gives off a good vibe, and he really does look like he's at peace with himself. He does mention about, you know, how the Bulls, how every single game the Bulls had to come out and play because everybody wanted to watch the Bulls. You know, me being from Chicago, and, you know, me, you know, at that time, you know, traveling with my auntie to different cities, people just don't realize how popular the Bulls was nationally as a team. The Bulls will fill up your arena wherever you stayed at. You know, you're going to see a sea of red in damn near every city when the Bulls came to play. So, you know, the Bulls, like I said, they were a mega team at that time. It wasn't just here in Chicago. It was all over the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? When the Bulls came, people wanted to see them. And when it came to channels across the United States of America, you best to believe when the Chicago Bulls played, people were tuning into it. So Scottie Pippen makes an excellent point about, you know, how the mega star appearance that the Bulls created, you know, and like I said, he gives that praise and that credit to Michael Jordan. And, you know, Michael Jordan did create that culture. You feel what I'm saying? Everywhere he went, when he took the Bulls with him, everybody wanted to see the Bulls play. And especially everybody wanted to see Michael Jordan play because they knew it was going to be an epic show.
Yeah, and you know, when I watch it that way, and I see the numbers, you know, we're going to get into the debates of Michael, LeBron, Kobe, all this stuff. We'll get into that here in a minute. But the question I wanted to ask you is, when you guys played for the Bulls and politicians showed up, okay, say Republicans showed up, Democrats showed up, and they'd come and speak to you. And Michael made that one comment that we read about. I don't know if he said that or not. You know what I'm talking about, where
Yes.
It's like, listen, Republicans also buy shoes too, right? And Obama in The Last Stand said, I was kind of disappointed that he didn't come and support that one candidate. And even Michael's mother wasn't happy. You know the story. I'm telling you stuff that you lived it. So I'm more the guy watching it from the outside. As a comparison of face of the league to face of the league, not talent. We're not talking like who's the better team player, who's the better scorer, who's more dominant, who's a bigger winner, Michael to LeBron. How much of it you think also the face of the league, MJ was the face of the league, then maybe you put Kobe, Shaq the next era, then you put LeBron, Curry the next era. As the face of the league, how much did Michael's approach to the fans cause people to come that could care less about politics, left, right, and center, fall in love with it, versus now the face of the league with social media? Some fans are like, if you don't like me, I don't even want to come contribute to watch a game anymore because you kind of speaking to me in a way that you want to see me come watch and play. That specific debate, what did you notice between those two of gaining different fans?
Well, I can say in today's era, especially with social media, players allow the public to know their personal things, whether it's political, financial, family, whatever. They allow the public to get involved in it. So when you ask me to make that comparison with Michael or LeBron, well, Michael never put himself in that position. I mean, his words speak for himself. for itself. I mean, he's never going to put himself in a position where you know his political thinking, his political mindset. He stays away from that. He's a basketball player. He's not a politician. He's not one that's going to get involved in any kind of debate. He's going to focus more on playing basketball and what it takes to win championships. And that's all he's going to speak around.
That's facts right there. You know, Michael Jordan stayed away from that type of stuff. You know, when it came to Michael Jordan, he wanted us to see what he was all about. He wanted us to see basketball. He wanted us to see the game that he loved. You feel what I'm saying? He wanted us to see the beauty of the game. And that's why Michael Jordan never messed with none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? To me personally, I honestly don't think Michael Jordan really messed with that type of stuff on a personal level. I really don't. I think he loved the game of basketball too much to get distracted by that type of stuff. So what Scottie Pippen right there is saying is straight facts. Michael Jordan did not involve himself with things that were not towards basketball. It was all about being the best and winning championships. You feel what I'm saying? Everything else, it did not matter to Michael Jordan. You know, Kobe was the same way. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, when it comes to the politics and all of that type of stuff, Michael Jordan wasn't having it. You know, he was not having it. It was all about basketball. It was all about the game that he loved.
What a move to make. Good for him to make a move like that.
Yeah,
do you think that indirectly, that position helped the NBA grow its viewership because it attract all types of people?
Yes, it did, because like I said, in the 90s, we didn't have social media. So we didn't have a way to turn fans off, especially from a political standpoint.
Yeah.
We didn't have a way to encourage them from a political standpoint. So we just had basketball, and it was a lot easier to focus on our craft and our job and grow from that. We didn't have a lot of the distractions that, you know, players have now with social media. We had a lot of newspapers. There were more magazines and things printing stories, but, you know, it takes weeks, days, months for those kind of stories to get out. Whereas social media, it's every day, it's 24/7, it's every 30 minutes, every minute something's jumping off.
You know, back in those times, like he said, you know, all it was when it came to basketball, since there was no social media, you know, the only thing that we were able to do was watch the athletes either play on the screen, on the monitor, or go to the stadium and see them. And like you said, there were magazines. And if we wanted to have a closer connection with the athletes, you know, athletes like Jordan had the Air Jordans, you know, Scottie Pippen had his own shoe as well. So back in those days, you know, in the 90s, those are the things that we had to connect with the players. Now, when you got social media, you got all this stuff going on. You got the cancel culture and all that stuff going on. So every time an athlete does something out of the norm, it just gets posted. And, you know, depending on who you are, the athlete going to get canceled or whatever. But back then, it wasn't like that. I think athletes had more privacy. You feel what I'm saying? You never really heard of nothing personal going on unless it was something ferocious. Y'all feel me? And I kind of feel like that's another problem with the NBA today. Because of social media, everything is just out there. And a lot of athletes are distracted by social media, so they don't play as well and they don't play as hard. But back in those times, in the 90s, athletes were going out there giving it their all because there was no social media. There wasn't that type of distraction, and they had privacy. So a lot of people ain't really talking about that either. That's probably why the NBA is doing so bad now, because how affiliated it is with social media, especially with a lot of these athletes that be on social media all day and all night. So it's kind of interesting why people ain't really talking about that aspect. But I do think that is kind of hurting today's NBA. The whole thing with social media, cancel culture, you know, the fact that you got Twitter and stuff like that, you know, everybody is hearing about everything. You feel what I'm saying? You know, athletes got to constantly look over their shoulders now. You feel me?
Get that ring. And, you know, for everybody, by the way, who's your favorite teammate you ever had? And who was your best teammate you ever had?
Wow. Can I give them both to Michael? I mean, I can't knock him and say he was a bad teammate. I can't knock him and say he wasn't my favorite. I mean, we had a lot of success. So I would say he probably fit both of those categories.
Hey, man, Scottie Pippen keeping it all the way real, man. He keeping it all the way real, man. You know what I'm saying? He just said Michael Jordan was the best teammate he ever had and his favorite teammate he ever had. He keeping it all the way real. Despite whatever differences that they had, despite whatever drama people thought that was going on, Scottie Pippen keeping it all the way real. You know, he's showing Michael Jordan his respect. He giving him the props, man. Hey, that's some real shit right there. That's some real man shit right there, for real, man. Shout out to Scottie Pippen for that shit.
Scottie, you're interesting, buddy. I got to tell you, who's your second favorite?
I mean, I love playing with Horace Grant. I love playing with Dennis. And I would probably say Horace was probably my favorite at first because we got drafted together. We went to the Bulls together. We won our first 3 championships together, but he ended up leaving. So the bond with Michael became better, and just on the court, really, not off the court, but
So, more dinners with Horace than Michael, that's for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
no.
So who actually believed it? Was it like is it a joke, or was he seriously? He would say,
It was
"My
like
cat's."
a joke, but because NBA players, if you call in and say you're sick, the team can't do nothing but take your word, right? So Horace would always, not always, but he'll call in occasionally and say he was sick. And so we had this older coach, Coach Johnny Bach. He was our defensive coach. So he always would say, well, his cat got sick. Well,
And it stuck.
yeah.
But in reality, he never got sick to say because of his cat.
No.
It was a joke that the
Yeah.
coach made. Well,
Yes,
listen,
exactly.
that coach, that one little joke is still here.
It's still
30 years
relevant.
later,
Yes.
40 years later. When's the last time you and Michael spoke?
Right around the pandemic.
Oh, so it's been a minute since you.
Yeah.
Is that the text exchange when he shot you a text May of 2020 and he said, "Hey, Scottie, I heard you're upset. Let me know when you have a minute to speak." Is that the last time you guys spoke?
Something like that.
Something like that. And did you actually call him? Like, did you guys talk or did you just text him?
No, I think we ended up speaking briefly.
Did it end up being good, the conversation?
Yeah, I guess. Good and final.
That's what it was. Good and final. Because of you or because of him?
Yeah. I don't want to pick because of who. It's just
Got it.
good and final.
So basically what Scottie Pippen is implying, basically the last time he and Michael Jordan talked to each other on the phone, it was clearly one of those situations where, let bygones be bygones, and they worked out whatever differences that they had, maybe even called a truce or some stuff like that. But, when Scottie Pippen said it was final, that's just basically like whatever they talked about, they cleared it up, and, they each went their separate ways. As simple as that. A lot of times when it comes to sports, when it comes to the movie business or whatever, we always tend to think that people are friends like that, because y'all know how celebrities are. They like to take pictures and shit like they really close and all of that. I'm telling you, that's not how it happens. A lot of that stuff is an illusion. And, that's what Scottie Pippen is kind of proving. When you see celebrities together, they hype up everything, and athletes together like they all cool like that. A lot of that shit is fake. A lot of that shit is fake. Like Scottie Pippen said, the last phone call he and Michael Jordan had, after the phone call, they went their separate ways. You know what I'm saying? All of the glory days are with the Bulls. I ain't got no problem with it. I don't have no problem with that. You feel what I'm saying? But like I said, the respect is there. The respect is all the way there, and that's all that really matters.
What's more likely to happen? Me going to Carbone in the next 5 years. Carbone in Miami. I don't know what's your favorite restaurant. Let's say Flagler's in Palm Beach, because it's closer to golf. Is it more likely of me seeing Michael and Barkley having dinner at Flagler's in Breakers, Palm Beach? Or is it more likely for me to see you and Michael having dinner in the next 5-10 years at Flagler's?
I don't know what kind of dream you be having. But,
What do you think, though? Which of those two is more likely to happen? There's a Vegas odds. Like, we're trying to bet some money here on this one.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't spend that much time in Florida, so I would probably say maybe highly likely, maybe Charles.
Over you.
Yeah.
Got it. It's that's wild. And would you say a big part of it is The Last Dance and how that was portrayed? Would you say that was it? Would you say, because I sit there and I watch, for me, Kobe. I had Kobe at one of our events, the late Kobe. I love Kobe. Kobe and I are 6 weeks apart, our birthdays, and
wow.
I watched him play. We had a relationship at the tail end of his, not even career, his life. And it was a great moment. And he said some stuff about Shaq, and then Shaq and I had a conversation together years later, and it was great. And my son, till today, he's met a lot of different people. His favorite athlete he likes to talk about is Shaq. Shaq is his, Dylan loves Shaq.
Yeah. That's cool.
So, and then when you saw that one interview with Shaq and Kobe, they're sitting across from each other, right? That conversation that took place. And then you saw one with Magic and Isaiah. I don't know if you remember those interviews that they did like 10 years ago, something like that, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. It was great to see Shaq and Kobe together. It was great to see
it was awesome.
Isaiah and Magic together, where Isaiah got emotional and he got up and they hugged each other, and that whole thing with the two of them. Why is the tension so high with anything related to Michael? You and Michael, Barkley and Michael.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I just think that Michael is a very difficult person to deal with. I played with him for years, so I know that, when it's time for you to move in your direction, then go in your direction. Don't sit there and try to procrastinate or stretch it. That the relationship is not where it was or not what it used to be, and it's never going to be the same. So why try and make something out of nothing, or try to make something that was never there?
So there it is again. So he's practically talking about on a personal level, he and Michael Jordan just didn't fuck with each other like that. It was all business between them two, like getting together and having them do an interview and stuff like that. That's just something that for them two to decide on if they want to do that. But, like I said, that's not a personal thing. So, we're probably not going to see them two do that. You feel what I'm saying? Like you said, Michael Jordan was a businessman first. You feel what I'm saying? So just like Scottie Pippen said, man, it's just, there wasn't nothing there personally. You know what I'm saying? So why try to fix something if it wasn't there in the first place? And Scottie Pippen is practically talking about a friendship, like a personal friendship. He's literally saying that, hey, it wasn't one. It wasn't one. Their whole thing that they were just teammates and colleagues, just business, two guys working together, So that's what Scottie Pippen just admitted right there. He and Michael Jordan, personally, they weren't friends, They knew each other. You feel what I'm saying? They had respect for each other, but they weren't homeboys like that. You feel what I'm saying? And people just have to understand this happens a lot in the field of basketball, football, sports, international sports. This happens a lot, man. A lot of those people that y'all see on TV and the movie screens, they not friends with each other. They're just doing their jobs. They're acting on a movie or playing football or basketball. That's it. It's the job first.
So,
yeah.
Great teammate, but we just never were great friends.
Never, even when you guys played.
No.
There you go, right there. This is what's got the whole world buzzing right there when Scottie Pippen confirmed that him and Michael Jordan wasn't friends like that. Just confirmed it right there. And like I said, everybody is shocked by this. I'm not. I'm telling you, I'm not shocked by this. I'm not shocked. I'm not upset about it. I'm not angry about it. You know, when I watched the Bulls growing up, I watched Michael Jordan. I watched the greatness of Michael Jordan. I watched the greatness of Scottie Pippen. Not one time have I thought, like, what do Jordan and Pippen do when they go home? Like, do they hang out? Do they go to dinner together? Do they play 21 in a gym somewhere together? I never thought that. You feel what I'm saying? It was all about, when I saw the Bulls, I watched the Bulls. You feel what I'm saying? I watched the guys in the uniform and I watched the greatness. I never worried about personal friendships or nothing like that when it comes to these pro athletes. I really don't. Never did, and I never will worry about that. What I'm worried about is what they do on the basketball court, or endorsements and some shit like that. You know, kind of like, I'm a Jordan collector and shit like that. You know, that's the only thing I'm worried about. So right here, this is what got the whole world buzzing when Scottie Pippen came out and said that.
So when you guys were at the Dream Team, that one clip when Ahmad Rashad asks and says, you know which one I'm talking about, when Ahmad says, hey, Michael, question for you. 3 seconds left, fourth quarter. Who do you want to get the ball to go shoot whatever? And he says, me. You know which clip I'm talking about? He says, Ahmad Rashad, and he says,
Yeah.
no, you. He says, yeah, what kind of a question is that? And then you guys are getting off the bus. He says, Scott, this is the one right here. I don't play the clip. Actually, you know what? You may be able to play the clip. Yeah, play the clip here. Do we have audio or no, Rocks? I can't hear that. Back up a little bit.
Dumb question. Who would take the last shot?
Me. That's a dumb question. Me.
So, and then if you want to pause it, and this is, I think it's the right moment while you guys are getting off the bus and saying, where's Scottie? We got to go play golf. Where's Scottie? I think he's having a conversation. Did you guys golf a lot together or no?
Never.
You guys never golf?
No.
So who was he talking about to go golf with him, Rob? Wow, you guys never golfed together.
No.
So when you guys played together, how often was it for you guys to have dinner together?
I mean, we may have like a pregame meal or something like that, but it's always a big party of people.
How many times did just you and Michael have dinner in Chicago? Chicago has a lot of great... Scottie, stop it. Scottie, stop it.
Never.
You and Michael never had dinner together one-on-one?
No. Never.
Michael's house just sold, the one in Chicago,
Yeah.
right? I think it sold for like $9.6 million or some number like that, if I'm not mistaken. We like the house. We were interested, but possibly doing something with that because of the history in it. How often did you guys hang out in that house, go shooting, basketball, talking, mentally getting ready for the playoffs?
I never shot basketball there. I actually would go over in the morning when Grover was training. We would train together.
Scottie, can you get the mic a little bit closer?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was actually, I would train with Michael. I guess the last 3 championships that we won, we trained together at his house. But other than that, we didn't really put a lot of time in away from basketball. Most of our time was spent, whether we were working out or on the practice floor.
That's so wild to me because, that feedback was given sometimes about Kobe. That Kobe wasn't a guy that hung out with his teammates. First run that he had. And then Phil, the story about Phil brings Michael in and he says, hey, Michael, I want you to meet Kobe. And Kobe says, I'd beat you one-on-one if we played one-on-one, right? That exchange. And then Kobe eventually, you can tell him and Pau became best of buddies, brothers, family. You see Pau with Vanessa, with family. It's emotional, all of that stuff. Wow. That's hard to believe, Scottie. Would you say he was such a... Oh, man, that's... Because sometimes when a guy is such an alpha at the highest level, the idea sometimes to lead your guys is be close enough to influence, but far enough to not make them too comfortable with you. The Prince Machiavelli talks about that. A lot of leaders talk about that, and it doesn't make sense to the average. It's kind of like, what are you talking about? Is go build a relationship, go build a bond, et cetera, et cetera. Some guys go that route. I wonder how much of that was more from his analysis of, listen, I'm above, I'm the leader, I'm the head guy here, and he didn't want to get too close to his guys. Especially if you're saying you guys never had dinner together, Scottie?
No.
And you never golfed because you weren't a golfer? Are you a decent golfer?
I think a little bit of both. I'm decent,
Okay.
but I didn't really care for the game much when I played.
When season ended and it's off season, how often did you guys hang out in off season?
0.
Who was your guy? Was it more Horace? You and Dennis? You and
Probably
BJ
more
Armstrong
Horace when I was there. I was probably more Horace.
who was close to Michael on the team? Him and BJ were close. I mean, when he came back to that one practice when BJ and him speaking and saying, hey, come and shoot a little bit.
I don't know about that one, but if you say so.
Well, no, listen, if I'm saying it, I'm just saying it because
Yeah.
I read about it. I don't know if I have the credibility of having been there. I just read about it.
Yeah. I mean, there were times when guys that were brought in that kind of bonded with Michael, Sam Vinson, Darrell Walker, but those were veteran players that had been around him probably previously, probably from college. But as far as players that he played with in the 90s, he didn't really bond with players on that team.
So I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there. So, when it came to this whole interview, like I said, shout out to Scottie Pippen for being real about it. At the end there, Scottie Pippen was getting asked a whole bunch of questions when it came to the personal life of him and Michael Jordan, if they had any type of personal relationships. And, Scottie Pippen was saying, hey, no, we didn't. And, Scottie Pippen was giving Michael Jordan his respect. He was giving Michael Jordan his props. And I believe Scottie Pippen pretty much at least 90% everything he said. I believe Scottie Pippen. I did not sense no deception in Scottie Pippen's voice or his attitude. I think Scottie Pippen is genuine in this whole interview. And like I said, I believe him. I did not take away no bashing of Michael Jordan. There's no ill will of Michael Jordan. There's no anger there. He's not angry at Michael Jordan, So I also want to point out, just because Scottie Pippen did say that him and Michael Jordan weren't friends like that, that don't mean that they didn't like each other. All it means is that Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan had their own lives. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Michael Jordan was out here, man. He had a lot going on. A lot of people got to realize that Michael Jordan had a lot of shit going on. He was playing basketball. He was part of the dream team. You know what I'm saying? So he was playing basketball more than anybody, doing all kind of endorsements. He had the Michael Jordan cologne going on. He had the Air Jordan shoes. He had the Hanes underwear. So Michael Jordan was he was everywhere. He had so much shit to do. He didn't have time for friends. Let's just keep it all the way real. Michael Jordan did not have time for friends, man. He did not have time for friends, man. The whole fucking world was endorsing him. Nike, Ballpark, Ballpark, the hot dogs, they were endorsing. They was endorsing him. I'm telling y'all, man, Michael Jordan, then, he was playing golf all the time. Michael Jordan truly just did not have time for a whole bunch of friends. You feel what I'm saying? And another thing, too, that they had touched on deeper in the interview, they actually touched on that Michael Jordan was actually difficult to work with. You feel what I'm saying? And the same thing that was said about Kobe. But here's the thing. I don't think it's more about Michael Jordan being difficult to work with. Michael Jordan just pushed people. He pushed people to be the best versions of themselves when it came to the basketball court. He didn't expect nothing less than perfection. That's all that was. Michael Jordan just knew how to push people. You got to realize something. When they broke that Bulls team up, with the exception of Scottie Pippen, and Steve Kerr, Everybody else on that Bulls team faded away because they did not have Michael Jordan's leadership. Luke Longley faded away. Tony Kukoc faded away. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Tony Kukoc played an extra good number of years in Philadelphia, but it wasn't the same. You know, it wasn't the same at all. Bill Wennington, what happened to him? You know, Judd Bushler, you know, what happened to him? Like, all those guys faded away when Michael Jordan retired from the Bulls, man. But Michael Jordan made those guys look like RNGs on the fucking court. You feel what I'm saying? He just knew how to push people. But like I said, you know, Scottie Pippen was keeping it all the way real. And like I said, you know, it kind of seemed like the last few years, people have been painting a dark picture about Scottie Pippen. And like, Scottie Pippen seems like a real cool dude, man. He don't seem like no vindictive type of person or anything. He's just a person that's been through a lot, just like the rest of us. But like I said, the dude got a good vibe, man. The vibe that Scottie Pippen has, he's got a good vibe. You know what I'm saying? And what I took away from this interview is basically Scottie Pippen kind of seems like he does want to put this all behind him. Like he wants to come out and speak the peace. You know what I'm saying? And just let people know there's no bad blood between him and Michael Jordan. And like I said, I believe Scottie Pippen in this entire interview. I think Scottie Pippen was telling the full truth. There was parts of the interview, you know, that I didn't go over because, you know, I don't want the video to drag. He was also asked if Michael Jordan would be able to survive in today's NBA. And Scottie Pippen actually said Michael Jordan would dominate in today's NBA. And I do believe him because one of the things that Michael Jordan would be able to do, Michael Jordan would get away with playing the point guard. Of course, he'll play the two guard, and he can get away with playing the small forward. Michael Jordan can also dominate in the mid-range game, and he can actually revitalize the mid-range game because that is just non-existent in today's NBA. You know, the mid-range game, the post-up game, you know, Michael Jordan would definitely revitalize all of that. You feel what I'm saying? And also, too, today's NBA is a three-point shooting driven league. You know, Michael Jordan is not going to buy into that philosophy. You know, he's going to get into the paint, you know, post guys up, find the open man, you know, and then make teammates around him better. And you know what? The dude can get 6 championships in this day and age when it comes to the NBA just by that philosophy. So I do agree with Scottie Pippen when he said that Jordan would definitely dominate in this era. Like I said, when it comes to this interview, a very genuine interview from Scottie Pippen. Like I said, no deception detected. And, you know, I think this is one of those type of situations where Scottie Pippen just really just wants to close the book and just let people know, hey, it's not what you think it is when it comes to him and Michael Jordan. You know, they're not enemies. They're not friends, but they're not enemies either. They're just two guys that worked together. They played basketball together. They were teammates. They were colleagues. But when they were not working together, they had their own life. And they went their separate ways on the offseason. That's how it is when it comes to the whole Michael Jordan versus Scottie Pippen. You know, this is kind of like a happy ending if you really think about it. And I'm glad this has happened. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section below about Scottie Pippen coming out and showing all kinds of respect and praise to Michael Jordan and just being real about the whole situation when it comes to him and Michael Jordan on a business level and a personal level. You know, put y'all thoughts and y'all feelings in the comment section below. We could definitely get a conversation started. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to your boy for some more of this real talk shit. My name is Demetrius. I will get back at you in the next video. God bless. Stay safe. I am out. Peace.